COVID-19. In late 2019, doctors in Wuhan identified unusual pneumonia cases connected to a local seafood market. Scientists soon discovered a new coronavirus, later named COVID-19, which spreads through tiny droplets when people cough, sneeze, or talk. By early 2020, infections had spread beyond China, reaching countries around the world. Governments responded with travel restrictions, lockdowns, and safety measures to slow transmission. Masks, hand hygiene, and social distancing became daily necessities. When vaccines were developed, they offered hope, but also highlighted the scale of the challenge. What began as a local outbreak quickly became a global pandemic, affecting billions of lives and showing just how interconnected and vulnerable our world truly is. The Titanic. In 1912, the great ocean liner Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage from Southampton, bound for New York City. Built in Belfast by Harland and Wolff and operated by White Star Line, it was called the largest and most luxurious ship of its time. On April 14th, 4 days into the journey, the ship struck an iceberg in the freezing Atlantic Ocean. The collision tore open its hull. Water flooded in and the ship began to sink. There were not enough lifeboats for everyone. Panic and confusion followed as passengers and crew tried to escape. The captain, Edward Smith, remained on board. Within hours, the Titanic disappeared beneath the water. More than 1,500 people lost their lives. The disaster shocked the world and led to major changes in maritime safety, including lifeboat rules and iceberg patrols. Over a century later, the Titanic remains one of history's most famous and sobering tragedies. The Holocaust. Between 1933 and 1945, during the rule of Nazi Party in Germany, millions of people were persecuted and murdered in what is known as the Holocaust. Led by Adolf Hitler, the regime targeted Jewish people first, but also Roma, disabled individuals, political opponents, and others. Jewish families across Europe were forced from their homes into ghettos and later deported by train to concentration and extermination camps such as Auschwitz-Birkenau in Poland. Many were separated from loved ones and killed. By the end of the Holocaust, about 6 million Jewish people and millions of other victims had died. After the war, the world learned the full scale of these crimes. Trials were held, memorials were built, and new human rights laws were created. The Holocaust is remembered as a warning of where hatred and discrimination can lead and why remembering history matters. On September 11, 2001, 19 terrorists from Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 passenger planes in the United States. Their plan was to carry out coordinated attacks on major symbols of power. 2 planes were flown into the World Trade Center in New York City. The towers burned and then collapsed, causing massive destruction and loss of lives. A 3rd plane struck the Pentagon near Washington, D.C. A 4th plane crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers tried to stop the hijackers. Nearly 3,000 people were killed. The attacks shocked the world and led to wars, new security laws, and long-term global effects. The plot was led by Osama bin Laden. Today, 9/11 is remembered as a day of tragedy, bravery, and remembrance, honoring the victims and first responders who risked their lives to save others. Malaysian Airlines flight. On July 17, 2014, a passenger jet operated by Malaysia Airlines was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur when tragedy struck. While cruising over eastern Ukraine, the plane was hit by a surface-to-air missile in an area affected by conflict. Aircraft broke apart in the sky and crashed to the ground. All 298 passengers and crew were killed. Victims came from many countries, making it a global tragedy for families around the world. Investigations later concluded the missile was launched from territory controlled by pro-Russian separatist forces. The event increased international tensions and calls for justice. Today, the crash is remembered as one of the deadliest aviation disasters of the 21st century, honoring the lives lost and the importance of protecting civilian flights during conflicts. The Chernobyl disaster. On April 26, 1986, a late-night safety test at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant went terribly wrong. A sudden power surge caused Reactor 4 to explode, releasing large amounts of radioactive material into the air. The accident happened near the city of Pripyat, where thousands of families lived. Many were unaware of the danger at first. Within days, entire neighborhoods were evacuated. Firefighters and workers rushed in to contain the disaster, often with little protection. Many became sick from radiation exposure. Radioactive clouds spread across parts of Ukraine and beyond, contaminating land and water. A large exclusion zone was created, and some areas remain restricted today. The Chernobyl disaster is considered the worst nuclear accident in history. It changed nuclear safety rules worldwide and remains a powerful reminder of the risks of nuclear energy when safety fails. Rwanda genocide. In 1994, the country of Rwanda was torn apart by one of the fastest genocides in history. Long-standing ethnic tensions between Hutu and Tutsi communities erupted after the Rwandan president's plane was shot down. Extremist groups, including the Interahamwe, began organized killings. Neighbors turned against neighbors, and many victims were targeted in their own towns and villages. Violence spread to the capital, Kigali, and across the country. Some media outlets, such as radio television, Libra de Mille call lines, spread messages that encouraged attacks in about 100 days. Around 800,000 people, mostly Tutsis and some moderate Hutus, were killed. Many families fled or hid to survive. The United Nations and the world were criticized for not stopping the violence sooner. Today, the Rwandan genocide is remembered as a warning of how hate and propaganda can lead to tragedy, and why protecting human rights and unity is so important. Hiroshima. In August 1945, during the final days of World War II, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima. The bomb exploded high above the city, releasing a blinding flash, intense heat, and a powerful shockwave. Buildings were flattened, fire spread, and tens of thousands of people were killed instantly. Many others were badly burned or exposed to radiation. In the days and months that followed, more people became sick and died from injuries and radiation effects. Japan was already weakened by war, and the bombing shocked the nation and the world. Just days later, a second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. Soon after, Japan surrendered and the war ended. The bombing of Hiroshima remains one of history's most devastating events, remembered as a powerful warning about the human cost of nuclear weapons and the importance of peace. If you learned something new in this video, please consider subscribing. It'll help the channel a lot.